All right, buckle up because we're diving into a topic that's everywhere you look online these days, Mr. Beast, and all this viral philanthropy he's got going on.
It's definitely gotten people's attention, that's for sure.
You sent over a whole stack of articles about Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson.
Yeah.
We're going to try and unpack all this.
It's an interesting case study for sure because we all know how charities usually do things.
Right.
But Mr. Beast has come in with a whole new approach. Mixing in big money and these crazy stunts.
Right.
And then, oh yeah, by the way, it's for charity.
Yeah. Is this the future of giving back, or is it just, really smart entertainment?
Well, if we want to figure that out, I think we got to look at how he got to this point. I mean, it's a fascinating journey, how he went from some, kid who played video games to this huge YouTube star.
Yeah. I remember some of those early videos of his where he's just counting to 100,000. I can barely sit through a 30-minute show.
Right.
It must have taken some serious
dedication.
Yeah, dedication to pull that off.
Oh, absolutely. And it shows that he knew what grabs attention online.
Yeah.
And those early videos, just the start. When he got a bigger audience, he just kept making crazier and crazier stunts.
Like that time he buried himself alive for 2 days.
50 hours, yeah.
I don't care how much money you paid me. I would never do that.
It was definitely different than what most people expected to see on YouTube, that's for sure.
Right.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And then he does that one where he spends almost, more than 2 days in solitary confinement, or that one where he's surviving on an island.
Right.
It got a ton of attention, and people loved it.
It put him on the map for sure, and that's when big brands started to pay attention, right? It wasn't just about the views anymore.
Yeah, for sure. It was like sponsorships left and right.
Yeah, big money started rolling in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast knew what he was doing, using those crazy spectacles and going viral to bring in the big bucks.
And that's where I guess this whole philanthropy thing comes in, right? But is it just another one of these stunts, or is it something more? So we talked about how Mr. Beast really knows how to grab your attention online.
Yeah.
But now he's doing all this philanthropy stuff, and it seems like everyone has an opinion on it. He went from those crazy challenges to these huge projects helping people.
It is a pretty big change, and it makes you wonder, what made him switch it up? Maybe he realized he could use how famous he was to do some good in the world.
Yeah.
But whatever the reason, you can't deny how big some of these projects are and how many people they've helped.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This isn't some little bake sale. Like when he helped all those blind people see again.
Yeah.
By paying for their surgeries. I can't even imagine how much something like that costs.
Pretty amazing, right? And when you see their reactions in the video, like seeing the world for the first time, it really gets to you. But it also makes you think, is this really changing things, or is it just like a feel-good moment that doesn't last?
Yeah, it did help those people, but there are a lot more people who need those surgeries too.
Right.
So does watching a video like that make other people want to do something to help, or do they just feel good for a minute and then that's it? Something to think about.
Definitely. And that's something that comes up a lot with his philanthropy. This question of how complicated it all is. Like that video where he says he's adopting the orphanage in South Africa. He wanted to pay for everything the kids needed.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was really sweet.
But then, you read more about orphanages and it turns out sometimes it's actually better for the kids to not be in an orphanage at all.
Really?
Yeah. Our sources talked about how just giving money to orphanages might not actually solve the problem.
Yeah.
It might even be part of the problem.
Wow, I never thought about that.
It just goes to show, even when you're trying to do good, things can be complicated.
Yeah.
And it reminds you to really think things through, even, or maybe especially when it comes to charity.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It's like, yeah, he wanted to do something good, but you got to look at the whole picture and what will really help in the long run.
Yeah.
And speaking of the whole picture, remember that other big project of his where he brought clean water to that community?
Oh, yeah, the one in Kenya. He was building wells, right?
Right.
That video was amazing, the way they filmed it.
It really makes you realize how important clean water is. It changes everything, their health, education. Even if they can make more money,
right,
it can change their whole lives.
But what happens when those wells break? Who fixes them? It makes you wonder if that kind of help lasts or if it's just a temporary fix.
Those are the questions, right? It's not always as simple as it seems, and there's always more to the story. I mean, these problems are really complicated, and to really solve them, you need real solutions that will last.
Exactly. So we've been talking about all the good that Mr. Beast does.
Right.
But some of these articles you sent over, they say there are some, criticisms of how he does things. And they make some good points. Like, yeah, he does all these big, splashy things to help.
Yeah.
But what happens after the cameras leave, you know?
It's true. Sometimes you need more than just a one-time thing to fix a problem. Like, giving a village clean water is amazing.
No,
but what about making sure those wells keep working year after year?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it seems like some people say he oversimplifies things a bit.
I see what you mean.
Like, it's easy to fix these big problems.
Right, just give some money and everything's fine.
Yeah, when really it's way more complicated than that.
Definitely. And another thing some people have brought up is, when he shows those really emotional moments, like people seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
Those are powerful moments for sure. But it can feel kind of, I don't know.
Exploitive almost.
Yeah. Like, are we just watching them be happy, or are we really thinking about why they couldn't see before and how to help other people like them?
It's almost like those videos are using people's disabilities to make us feel good, you know?
It's tricky, right? Where's the line between sharing something inspiring and using someone's story?
Exactly. And speaking of tricky, we got to talk about this whole situation with Ava Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
That whole thing really brought to light a different side of MrBeast, and, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, all those accusations, like that he wasn't treating people well who worked for him, or even worse, It really makes you think, right? You see this guy doing all this good stuff online, but then...
Or is it all just for show?
Exactly. It reminds us that we don't always see the whole picture, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's good to question what we see.
Yeah. You can't believe everything you see online.
For sure. And with MrBeast, it's not just him we have to think about. It's YouTube, too. I mean, think about it. YouTube wants you to keep watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the videos that really grab your attention, that make you feel something, well, those are the ones they show to everyone.
And that's what MrBeast is so good at.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
So is this whole thing about helping people, or is it about getting views and making money?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I don't think there's an easy answer. But it's definitely something to think about. MrBeast is a really interesting part of this whole world of giving back and being a good person online. He's raised tons of money for good causes, but he's also made us think about how we do all this and what our real intentions are. And the truth is, it's more complicated than it seems.
Exactly. MrBeast's story makes us ask ourselves, how do we want to help others? How do we use social media? What do we really care about? And those are questions worth thinking about, even if there's not always a clear answer.
That's what we're all about here on Deep Dive, getting you thinking and maybe seeing things from a new perspective. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic that's got everyone talking.